Breaking news. Danielle Smith has just delivered the kind of shock that Mark Carney never saw coming. At the very moment when Alberta-US talks are hitting historic levels, Smith is raising the stakes in a way Ottawa can't ignore. What was dismissed as noise a year ago has now turned into a deafening roar. Alberta's patience has run dry, and Carney is standing in the middle of a storm that's only getting louder. For years, elites in Ottawa thought independence talk would die out. They said it was fringe, impossible, nothing more than empty threats. But now that same talk is the central conversation, not only in Alberta, but across the prairies and even in the Yukon. Smith's push is not about asking politely anymore. It's about demands, ultimatums, and deadlines that Ottawa has already blown through. Mark Carney, who positions himself as Canada's economic adult in the room, is suddenly exposed. His policies, his central bank-style thinking, his reliance on bureaucracy, none of it resonates in a province where survival depends on grit, work, and self-reliance. Smith's message to Carney is clear. Alberta will no longer bankroll a federation that insults it at every turn. 12 demands were sent to Ottawa. Not suggestions, not discussion points. Ultimatums. Repeal Bill C-69, the so-called No Pipelines Bill, scrap the tanker ban, end the emissions cap, drop the net zero car mandate, restore Alberta's control over the carbon tax, guarantee export corridors so Alberta's energy can actually reach global markets. This was Alberta drawing a line in the sand. Ottawa was given 6 months, 5 months have already passed, and guess what? Nothing. No repeal, no concession, no respect. This is where Carney's shock begins. Because Danielle Smith is making it obvious, if Ottawa doesn't move, independence isn't a distant fantasy. It's the only option left on the table. And unlike before, the numbers prove it's not just noise. The referendum threshold has been slashed to 177,000 signatures. Organizers already claim they've secured more than 240,000 pledges. That's above the line. That's enough to trigger the vote. That's a legally binding referendum, not a talking point. Carney knows the stakes, he understands finance, he knows markets react to instability. But what he underestimated was Alberta's anger turning into organization. What he underestimated was Danielle Smith using her office to legitimize the independence card. He thought he was playing chess with Ottawa's money, but Alberta has just flipped the board over. For decades, Ottawa drained Alberta's economy by $20 to $22 billion every single year through equalization and transfers. That's $5,000 stolen from every Albertan annually. Over 50 years, that's more than $600 billion gone. Imagine what Alberta could have built with that money. World-class hospitals, modern schools, roads that connect remote communities, technology hubs to rival Silicon Valley. Instead, it bankrolls Quebec and Ontario, provinces that sneer at Alberta while cashing its checks. That's not partnership, that's exploitation. And Carney, someone groomed by the very institutions benefiting from this arrangement, is being confronted with the raw truth. Alberta is finished playing nice. But here's the kicker. This isn't just Alberta anymore. Saskatchewan's frustration mirrors Alberta's. Their independence petition only needs 125,000 signatures. Momentum is already building. Premier Scott Moe has made it clear if the people want a referendum, he won't stand in their way. That's as close to a green light as it gets. And now the Yukon, Canada's forgotten frontier, is finding its voice. The cost of living is brutal. Heating bills crush families. Rent soars past $2,000 a month. Jobs disappear as soon as winter hits. Healthcare is a disaster. Specialists have to be flown in. Appointments take months. Racism drives people away from care altogether. Ottawa's response? Shrugs, excuses, abandonment. The Yukon literally had to build its own healthcare authority to survive. That's not governance, that's neglect. And when people feel abandoned long enough, whispers of independence turn into shouts. This is why Danielle Smith's shock to Carney is so powerful. She isn't just speaking for Alberta anymore. She's speaking for a coalition forming in real time, a coalition of provinces and territories that provide most of Canada's energy, food, and resources. Ottawa used to dismiss Alberta as one loud voice. But when Alberta, Saskatchewan, Yukon, and interior BC communities all start singing the same song, Ottawa loses its argument that this is just fringe noise. And Carney, he suddenly looks like a banker trying to hold back a tidal wave with spreadsheets. Let's be clear, this isn't only about economics anymore. It's about culture, values, and identity. Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Yukon live by hard work, family, faith, and freedom. You put in work, you build something, you earn your reward. Ottawa lives by bureaucracy, dictates, and control. They sneer at oil and gas, the very industries that pay for their programs, while sipping lattes in downtown Toronto. That divide can't be bridged anymore. It's not pipelines versus no pipelines. It's two completely different ways of life. And once politics becomes about culture, there's no compromise left. That's the moment Canada is in now. Danielle Smith sees it, Carney feels it, Ottawa fears it. Smith herself has tried to keep the door open. She's said she supports Alberta's sovereignty within Canada if reforms can be made. She's floated a European-style federation where provinces have far more autonomy, coordinating only on a few national issues. But let's be honest, Ottawa won't willingly surrender its grip, and Smith has made it clear if petitions succeed, Alberta will absolutely put independence on the ballot. No hesitation, no more delay tactics. Albertans will decide. That's why Carney is rattled. For years, his kind of politics relied on the assumption that Albertans were too divided, too disorganized, too exhausted to ever push this far. But the ground has shifted. Petitions are succeeding. Polls show 45% in favor of independence in just 8 weeks of campaigning. Among federal conservatives in Alberta, support jumps to 70%. That's not fringe, that's mainstream. This is Canada's Yugoslavia moment. Two nations pretending to share one flag. But when 75% of the country's oil, billions in transfers, and whole provinces start pushing for the exit, the divorce papers practically write themselves. History is full of examples. Norway walking away from Sweden, Slovakia breaking from Czechoslovakia, Ireland leaving the UK, bad unions die, and Canada is proving to be one of them. October 1st looms as more than just a deadline. It's the point of no return. If Ottawa refuses to change, separation won't be rebellion, it'll be survival. Alberta holds the cards, and Danielle Smith knows it. Carney, despite his reputation as the smartest guy in the room, is realizing he has no hand to play. This isn't noise anymore. It's a movement with teeth. It's petitions, deadlines, legal frameworks, and political will. Alberta's frustration has spilled over its borders. Saskatchewan is next. Yukon is stirring. Interior BC is restless. This is no longer a regional protest. It's a coalition against Ottawa's control. Carney wanted stability. Danielle Smith just gave him chaos. And Alberta's independence is no longer a question of if, but when.